I remember you were using that phrase quite often when you wrote for the Sun papers, the American libido for the ugly.
Yeah.
That was a favorite topic.
Yeah. Well, the idea in that was this. Such horrible exhibitions are not due to mere ignorance and innocence. There is a positive delight in the ugly. You can, if you go down the street in Baltimore in those endless rows of two-story houses on a summer night, you can look in them. They're usually illuminated more or less. And you noticed you go sometimes for 2 or 3 blocks without seeing a single object that's not hideous.
Henry Louis Mencken was born September 18, 1880, in Baltimore, Maryland. Apart from 8 years of his life, Mencken would live at his family home in the Union Square neighborhood of Baltimore until his death in January of 1956 at the age of 75.
Baltimore, I knew as a boy, was extraordinarily hot in summer and filthy. It was full of flies, mosquitoes. All kinds of epidemics were running simultaneously. But the people liked it. Food was cheap. Houses were comfortable, although we slept under mosquito nets. And I look back on it with great affection.
Mencken did not go to college. Instead, he became a news reporter at the age of 18 for the Baltimore Herald. He wasn't a reporter for long, becoming editor at the same Herald at the age of 23.
Paper reporter in a big city at that time led a life that has never been matched on earth for romance and interest.
Mencken co-founded the American Mercury in 1924, and in 1925 gained fame for his satirical coverage of the trial of the state of Tennessee versus John Thomas Scopes. He dubbed it the Scopes Monkey Trial. Walter Lippmann once said Mencken was the most powerful personal influence on this generation of educated people. A prolific author, Mencken wrote an editorial every week between 1910 and 1941. Nicknamed the Sage of Baltimore, H.L. Mencken was a vocal critic of the American culture, Puritanism, and democracy. With a biting wit, terse prose, and timeless style, Mencken is widely considered the father to the voice of modern American journalism. Mencken said this of the American politician in 1926. He is a man who has lied and dissembled, and a man who has crawled. He knows the taste of the boot polish. He has suffered kicks in the toe of his pantaloons. He has taken orders from his superiors in knavery, and he has wooed and flattered his inferiors in sense. His public life is an endless series of evasions and false pretenses. He is willing to embrace any issue, however idiotic, that will get him votes, and he is willing to sacrifice any principle, however sound, that will lose them for him. I do not describe the Democratic politician as inordinate worse. I describe him as he is encountered in the full sunshine of normalcy. He may be, on the one hand, a crossroads idler, striving to get into the state legislature by grace of the local mortgage sharks and evangelical clergy, or he may be, on the other, President of the United States. It is almost an axiom that no man may make a career in politics in the Republic without stooping to such ignobility. It is as necessary as a loud voice. Mencken died at the age of 75 in his sleep in his lifelong home at 1524 Holland Street in West Baltimore. But the story of H.L. Mencken does not end here. Mencken was vain and a pack rat. He voraciously saved his own letters and correspondence, even going so far as to save school books and doctor's notes. Though his leanings towards autocratic militarism and his idealization of pre-World War I Germany, as well as his staunch opposition of America entering World War II, were well known by those who read and studied Mencken while he was alive, the racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, and fascist leanings of the proclaimed Sage of Baltimore would not be revealed until his collections of personal writings were unsealed 25 years after his death. After hearing of the death of a Jewish member of the Maryland Club in 1943, Mencken wrote in a letter, "There is no other Jew in Baltimore who seems suitable." In private letters, Mencken wrote of black women, "It is impossible to talk anything resembling discretion or judgment to a colored woman. They are all essentially childlike, and even hard experience does not teach them anything." It is the continuing question of separating a person from their work, because despite his hidden bigotry, Mencken was truly a master of the English language. His prose reads easily, despite being written almost 100 years ago. He was often wrong, but he was without doubt, and his writing still permeates our culture. A study of internet traffic revealed that Mencken was the sixth most cited dead intellectual between 1995 and 2002. Terry Teachout, the author of Mencken's biography The Skeptic, summed up the complexities and contradictions of the Sage of Baltimore in a much better way than I can. Perhaps he was a sage of sorts, though a completely American one. Not calm and reflective, but as noisy as a tornado. Witty and abrasive, self-confident and self-contradictory, sometimes maddening, often engaging, always inimitable. Definitely a man to have dinner with and a writer to read, for as long his books are read.
And on that note, we will close. We have to get back to Baltimore. By the way, what do you have to do today? What is your chore for today after we get back?
The rest of the day?
Yes.
I want to get in the office about 2:30 if I can. We got to get lunch somewhere along the way. And after that, I've got nothing pressing. I'm working on an article. I'll do that tonight if it's not so hot. You say you're going to close on a note of idealism.
Yeah.
That's, to me, catastrophe.